So the interesting thing about teaching when you come back is that we all have to be prepared to teach students remotely. So we will need to teach through Zoom. So I don't know if you can see what is behind me right there, but we actually have a Zoom session going. So I have a laptop, I've got a webcam on the laptop, I have started my Zoom session, and so my students in front of me can see, like they probably really don't care what's on the big screen because at this point I'm just talking, but on Zoom and in the Zoom session, the presenter would be there and would be sharing the information. So that is important. And then as we have other information to share, I think I've got a template of a PowerPoint up here so I could share that. So it looks a little bit different, right, from the faculty perspective. But what we see, we are actually in the Zoom session. I could go ahead and do the regular one. Thanks to Dr. Hayes for letting me borrow his PowerPoint here. So it's going to be just like it would be if you were doing a normal Zoom meeting from your house. The difference is whatever you have in the classroom is going to be displayed through the Zoom meeting. So you can tell I've got our screen of participants in our Zoom meeting over there. I'm dragging it on my laptop, but I am actually sharing the Zoom session from the black box. So because a lot of our technology in the classroom comes from the black box that's in each classroom, we've set up a station in front of each. So a big thank you to our PBA Media Services and CIS teams. They have done a terrific job. Before, if you taught from the black box, you kind of had to turn it all on and then turn the projector on and then look at the projector screen to see what was there. So this monitor is going to be a really nice addition for everybody. The majority of classrooms are going to actually have a monitor that has a webcam in it. So in this classroom, I need to use my laptop. That's what we have with the faculty that are using this particular classroom right now. But we wanted to plan for several of our adjuncts or even some full-time faculty who don't have laptops that will need to be able to teach remotely. So for that, they're going to need the monitor with the webcam. So you could tell over there I was standing, talking, maybe even moving a little bit, right? The farther you scoot back that camera, the more you'll be able to figure out how far you can walk. So that your camera will still pick you up. If you were teaching from over here, then you certainly could sit down and teach from here as well. So when we're in the Zoom meeting, we can certainly see it on the monitor that we have connected to the black box. As I was sharing, if something happens and you need to do something in the Zoom meeting, like move the screen over so that you can see additional text on the projector in the room so that your students can see. The nice thing about being able to do that, I have a remote keyboard that also has a mouse pad here. In your classroom, it might be different. You might have the keyboard and then you might have a separate mouse. So either you can certainly teach at the station next to the black box. I could have brought my laptop here with me, right? Maybe that's what you'd prefer to do, to kind of have all your controls and everything in one spot. But if you do plan to teach from a podium, because I know a lot of you indicated that you do like teaching standing, so you would prefer to use a podium or a half podium, then just take that remote keyboard with you. You'll still be able to control everything. I'm pointing to the monitor, but of course this is just a display of what's really going on the black box computer. So your black box will continue to function the same. The interesting thing is that you'll need to kind of come in class maybe a couple of minutes earlier, turn on the black box computer, sign yourself in, and you'll actually need to get in and get into your Zoom meeting because we want to be Zooming on the black box computer and also Zooming on whatever computer it is that you have the webcam. So you can tell that we are still in our Zoom meeting. In some classrooms like this one, we actually have a camera inside the black box and we have a webcam in the black box. If I was to go to the kind of the gallery view, you would notice that we can, oh, I keep doing it on the laptop, but I got to do it on the black box one, that's okay. So we can change our view up there. And so you can tell the camera that is picking up the students in this room is there as well. And so that's really nice because it will kind of help your students who are at home. They'll be able to see their classmates. Those are a little bit expensive, and so we aren't able to put a webcam in every black box. There are several classrooms where we're able to do that. So for us coming back this fall 2020, what we're going to do is actually, I think on the Friday, right before faculty began teaching class again, We'll be in several of the different classrooms and several different of the sample types of black box setups that we have. You'll have some e-learning and media services team members in there. And so just on the hour, each hour from like 10 to I don't know when, 4, 3, something, whatever Dr. Lane tells us, that's what we'll do. We'll be there. You can walk in, you can actually turn things on, bring your laptop if you want, and try a particular session so that you will feel very comfortable teaching in that classroom when classes start back. So I think we're going to give some specific directions. Like I said, all the black boxes are not standard, all the classrooms are not standard, so it's going to be better for us to give you specific directions for the classroom that you're in. I think like I said, it's not going to be normal teaching in fall 2020 because we again may have students who may need to remote into your class. You will be able to find out who those are. I know we're working on putting a code in Genzabar so that you could go to your Genzabar class list and actually see your students that will be sitting out of your class, will be participating remotely in your class. For COVID reasons. I think the expectation right now is that students continue to participate synchronously. So whenever it is that you are holding class with all the rest of your students, then your students who are remote are to be participating at that time. Faculty can choose to record sessions or not record sessions. We are working with the provost office to get some syllabus language, right, that you can put in your syllabus so that basically students agree and understand that they are going to be recorded every session. Of course, those recordings will be stored in your Zoom account. And so you can access them easily. As a faculty member, you can certainly take those recordings and put them in your Canvas class. So that will be easy for students to access afterwards if you would like to do that. It is helpful. I talk fast, and so I know folks tell me sometimes I got about half of what you said because I talk too fast. So it is helpful for students maybe for whom English isn't the first language, or just people that have a speak fast and have a Southern accent like me, and students might need to replay it again. For me, if the technology can help a student learn, I want to give them every tool to help them be academically successful. And I think this is probably a good one, especially if we have to Zoom the session anyway for some of our students who might be remote. So we will give you specific directions about the black box. One thing I think that probably was a little bit confusing to our faculty who taught for us late this summer was the sound. So in many of our classrooms, we do have speakers in the ceiling, and so that's the reason we definitely want to use the black box computer, because the sound is coming from this computer, and so I'll point to kind of again coming from this computer and this monitor. So if I'm showing a video, if I'm doing something like that, then I probably want to do it from this computer. That way all the students who are in the class, and then that's the reason why I'm Zooming as well, because the sound coming from this computer will come through the Zoom session itself, and then my students at home would be able to hear the sound as well there too. Because I'm using sound here, if I am going to use some type of laptop device, then I probably would mute my sound there, right? So I think it is just a little bit different, especially if you're going to work with two devices. That's why I think some people were working to get the monitor with the webcam in every classroom, and some people are just going to want to teach from the one device. That would be simpler, but certainly you can teach with your laptop. Some of you have specialty programs or files saved right on your laptop, so you can certainly teach from there as well. We will be available as an e-learning team and media services team to answer your questions. We want to make sure that you have all the information you need. We will be happy to meet with you individually, come in class and meet with you. Just send us an email. Our best is onlinehelp@pba.edu. Send us an email and let us know when you're going to be in your classroom and what classroom that is, and we'll do our best to meet you there and kind of help you walk through the technology. I would say do like a little dry run, right? Make sure you plug everything in and everything's working like you want. So let's take a look at the black box. As we said, not every black box in every classroom is exactly the same, but of course we have them fairly standardized. You're going to have a computer somewhere, so when you come in, you may want to take that keyboard and just kind of hit the space bar. The person in front of you may have left the computer on. If not, you can actually look and you'll see there's a power button and it's kind of lit up a little bit, so feel free to press that and turn it on. And then of course you probably have some information somewhere with display, and you want to make sure you turn that on. That'll turn the projector on. Hopefully the monitor will already be on. I know I happened to come in this classroom today and it was off. So you'll find a power button on your monitor somewhere. If that's not coming on, just try the power button. You may have to also adjust sound a little bit, right? It depends on who used the classroom before you, what YouTube video they played or resource that they played off their textbook website. So they may have had some sound differently, so you may want to turn the sound up in the classroom. Also, you may have to turn the sound up on the black box PC itself, which of course you can do by using the monitor as well. So, like I said, I would suggest that you come in, do a kind of a trial run and practice a little bit. If you have questions about the black box, we have a wonderful media services and CIS team, so feel free to send them an email or give them a call. And of course, they are 561-803-2027, and then you can indicate either 1 or 2 for classroom technology, and they'll put you straight through there. Their email is help_desk@pba.edu, and they are staffed quite regularly and should be able to help you with any challenges. So many of you might have students do work in small groups, right? You've lectured, you've shared information with them, and so sometimes it's good to stop, break them up into small groups, let them think about what it is that you have said, reflect, do a case study, whatever that particular thing might be. We know that students are more likely to talk when we kind of get them in a small group. So we've mentioned kind of doing something in the classroom, having students get up and go to the corners of the room or something like that. If you really need to turn the tables and chairs around, then you could do that too. I wanted to also mention doing things through Zoom. So if it was me and I was in the classroom for this particular fall, I think I would do breakout rooms in Zoom. So many of the students are going to bring their laptops or have a cell phone, right? They can do Zoom from the cell phone. Put the headphones in. That's how they are, I feel like, 80% of the day anyway. But that's another story. So have them put their headphones in, have them do the breakout room in Zoom on their mobile device, on their laptop, and then you could have a student that is 30 feet away from each other, but they could still be in the same small group session. As we're thinking about contact tracing and where students have been and who did you get within 6 feet of, we know when they were in the classroom, we know they have their mask on, and so that should be good, but just for contact tracing purposes, they could do the Zoom breakout room. Like I said, then that also includes your remote learners as well. So if you've got students who are participating synchronously but they're remote, they have to be in a group with somebody too. And so the fact that somebody could use Zoom, use the breakout room, that's a great way to, again, do that small group. You can control that. You can bring the students back after just a few minutes. As a faculty member, you can pop into each of the breakout rooms in Zoom so you can hear and watch and kind of see what's going on in each of the small groups, and that's a great way to continue that student engagement in small groups, but use technology to do it, keeping everybody safe.
Hello, PBA faculty. We have been asked as an e-learning team to share some best practices in HyFlex instruction at PBA. So this is Melanie Jackson, your e-learning director, and we would like to share some of those with you in this presentation. You know, in technology, we say the only constant is change, and so we know that there has been quite a bit of change recently, and perhaps the transition has not been as smooth as you would like. So please know that your e-learning media services CIS team are here to support you. Please ask your students to have a little grace with you. They certainly will understand that this teaching with technology is new. Know that we can count on the Lord, who is our steadfast rock, and He is going to give us peace and calmness when things might be a little bit different and a little bit zany in the classroom. It's going to be okay. We know that the Lord has called you to PBA to share your wonderful talent and your knowledge with our students, and know that people are praying for you. We wanted to share a little bit about HyFlexing at PBA. Know that some students are there for the entire term. Permission was given through Whitfield Felix's office. There are also some students who are going to HyFlex in after the first day of class. You probably have heard about that. They may not feel well. They reported on the daily wellness check. They're going to get that email from Health Alert. They're going to then send that email to you. So because every situation is kind of flexing, Dr. Richards is asking all of our faculty to be ready to Zoom every day for class. Take your laptop with you. That may be a help in the classroom where you are teaching. And also take your laptop home. You may not feel well, and so you might have to remote in, and we want to make sure that you have that option to do that should that be needed. We do have some new instructional technology, excuse me, at PBA in preparation for you teaching students remotely. And so we'll describe some of that, but you can see there's certainly a confidence monitor that helps you kind of see what is being projected. You may also have a microphone either in the monitor, in the black box itself, or in the classroom. So be ready for those options. Talk a little bit with your media services, eLearning, or CIS team, who will tell you exactly where that microphone is. You need to be within about 5 feet of that microphone in order for students on Zoom to hear you. It's pretty easy for us to know where we are in the video on Zoom because we can see that, but we can't hear it. So our suggestion to you is either do a Zoom call with an eLearning team member, or find a faculty friend, right, and you guys Zoom each other, and that way they can be down the hall or in their own office, and you can test your audio, test your video from that classroom. That will be really helpful. And you should do this in each of the classrooms where you are going to teach. Also, you may find an extra webcam or a document cam in your classroom. So if you need to work out a chemistry problem, a math problem, do a dissection, whatever that might be, if you have a specific need with the instructional technology, please let a media services or CIS team member know, and we want to make sure that you have the instructional technology in that classroom that you need to teach and for your students to learn. We have added some of these ring lights, so either on a tripod like on the left, or in a form of a gooseneck, right, with a clamp on it, kind of in the middle on the bottom right there. So we have a couple of these for checkout per term. If you can email Brandon Martinez and myself, let us know how these tools would help in your teaching and learning. We'd be happy to make sure that you get what you need, whether that is setting up a tripod in the dance studio so that students can see the movement, or setting up something on a clamp, right? So in an anatomy and physiology lab, students can actually see the dissection. We want to, again, make sure that faculty have the tools that they need to teach. That might also include an iPad. Some of you may teach a language, or again, math, sciences, something like that that requires some special characters. So if you can email Jason Thomas and myself and actually, again, share how an iPad with a stylist would help, we want to be sure that you have, again, the tools that you need to teach this semester. App is the word. There is an app for Canvas. There's an app for Zoom. I would encourage you to put both of those on your phone. They are really, really helpful. And also remember our PBA academic continuity plan. This is the term when we are going to add Canvas grades in Canvas to what we're already doing with posting our syllabus in Canvas. And just as a side note, remember that students don't tend to do optional. So if you want them to do something, focus on something in your class, you probably want to give them a grade for it, no matter how small that grade may be. In thinking about Zooming, again, we're going to be ready to Zoom each day with our remote learners. So what do we need to do as faculty to prepare for this? Go to the classroom, every classroom in which you are going to teach, download that Zoom app onto the computer. You only need to do that one time. After that, every time when you go to the computer, you'll simply need to sign in to Zoom. We encourage you then to sign into My PBA and Canvas and actually create your Zoom class meetings inside Canvas. It's really easy. We'll go through it in a minute, but all you need to do is give it a title, fix your date, time, and save it, and you are done. So that is really helpful. Security-wise, it also helps to create the meetings in Zoom inside Canvas because you have the student's name correctly, just as it appears in Jenzabar and My PBA. That can be very helpful. You can get a report at the end of your Zoom meetings of exactly who has attended, and the fact that you can match that exact name with the exact name in My PBA and Genzibart and Canvas is really, really helpful. It also helps during the class session so that you see the names of the people that are participating, and you want that to match as well. It also helps keep the links for your class meetings very secure, and that is very important, as also the meeting recordings. Only those students who are able to get into Canvas are going to be able to get to that meeting recording link, and so that is really, really helpful. So again, there is Zoom inside Canvas. This is a Canvas class. We can see on the left we've got our Canvas navigation. I do see about the fifth from the bottom in the navigation that's white and blue there, the Zoom link. If you don't see that, go in your Canvas class to Settings on the bottom, choose Navigation, scroll down to the bottom, find Zoom, drag it up to the top where students can see it, save it, come back to the class in Canvas, and you'll see the Zoom navigational link there. Clicking on that will launch kind of what we see here in the middle with the Zoom meeting. It looks just like you're in Zoom, but we're actually inside Canvas. From there, of course, we click that blue Schedule a Meeting button, and then we only need to choose a couple of options. The first one is the title. So you notice here I've renamed this to what we're going to talk about in class that day. Not only does it help the student in class that day, but as they go back and look at the potential class recording, they will be able to determine what recording is that they might need to watch again. The other option is what I've just left on the bottom, which is the exact title of the course, and that's not horrible either, right? Because they're certainly going to see the date and the time of the recording, so they're going to know this is the class meeting for that particular day. So if you don't want to change the title, that is fine, no problem. And again, in Zoom, all you need to set after the title is the date and time, and then you save it, and you are good to go. I do want to share with you about the recordings just a little bit. So students, I'm in the teacher view here. Students will see upcoming meetings in Zoom. They also will have that tab to see cloud recordings. Now, if the faculty member has released the cloud recordings for viewing by students, which is totally at a faculty's discretion, then the students will be able to see them. So this is a little bit of what the students might see. Obviously, again, I'm in the teacher view, so they won't see the ID number. They won't see the delete button, but they will be able to view the recording. And I think that could be helpful. Again, maybe it's students for whom English is not the first language. Maybe they have a faculty member like me that talks too fast, or maybe they just want additional instruction and they want to hear the class again. If that can help them, I am all for giving them whatever technology tools will help them increase their learning and their academic success in our courses. So thinking a little about Zoom, some people are a little concerned about Zoom. I want to tell you that your PBA e-learning team has collaborated with our CIS team. We have created the most secure Zoom environment that we can to be set up for automatic default settings in meetings. And so that is pretty important. Notice that the waiting room is enabled. As people join your Zoom class, you have the option to admit them to the meeting or not. So again, encouraging students to come in through Canvas, you're going to know exactly who they are, so you can choose to click the blue Admit button for them. Notice that I have changed this setting to allow participants to share screen, but normally they are not allowed to share screen until you add that particular privilege. If you don't want students to use the chat room, you can take that off. There are all kinds of settings that you can set inside your Zoom meeting, so we would encourage you to attend some Zoom trainings and see what all of those are. You can let your students know that you can save the chat as a faculty member, and you can see not only the chat that they post for the entire class, but you can see private chats in between individuals as well. So they may want to think about that before they post in the chat room. Notice you can remove a participant. Once you move the participant, they are gone from the room and that meeting. So you might want to choose a different option. This is a screenshot of the Manage Participants window down here. Notice everybody right beside their name has a More option. And you can take that student and or participant and just put them in a waiting room, right? That wouldn't totally pull them out of the meeting, but it would pull them out of participation right then. And that might help you to communicate with them about what is going on. So do be mindful of participants coming into your class meeting. We have had some students contact us that say they are just hanging out in the waiting room, and I know it's so much to teach in Zoom and teach students in person, but we do have to check every couple of minutes. I was working with somebody this morning that their internet went down and they totally got kicked out of the Zoom meeting. So it's not the participant's fault of what might happen, and so we just want to be ready to readmit them just in case something happens and they need to get back in. We do want to continue engagement in our courses. If you're concerned about students, being super close with each other, then we would encourage you to use breakout rooms in Zoom. Again, we've got a lot of Zoom trainings coming up, so feel free to attend those to figure out exactly technology-wise how I do that. But encourage students to bring their laptops, bring their mobile devices. In the lower right here, I've got a screenshot from Walmart.com. Not that I'm advertising them. Our PBA bookstore has some great options also with just little earbuds with a microphone, right? And that's all they're going to need to participate in your breakout room in class. That way they can be 30 feet apart from each other, but still be in the same breakout room. And I think that will be helpful. That also includes those remote learners, and they can be a part of those small group meetings, and that is really helpful. One other key thing about this year is that it's going to be very, very rare that you're going to be able to use the whiteboard or the chalkboard in your classroom. Students on Zoom won't be able to see it. It has to do with the lighting in the room, how the camera is arranged, how the projector lights onto the whiteboard itself. So the best option for you is honestly going to be able to use the whiteboard in Zoom. In the lower left here, you can see a screenshot of that. The way you get there in Zoom, on the bottom you'll see a big green share button as the faculty member. You click on that. You'll choose the whiteboard option and then choose the blue share button, and boom, this image, what we see on the lower left, pops up. So you can see I've kind of written right there with the drawing tool, so you definitely can draw or handwrite things. I used my mouse pad, so it wasn't that great. But then I've also got a text box, right? I just changed the option right there to be the text with the T, and I can type. So for what I teach, a text box works pretty well. And so you'll have to kind of practice with that a little bit, and that is okay. Again, you can find a faculty friend where you can kind of practice a Zoom session with them, or we've got some eLearning team members that have become very Zoom proficient and would be happy to do a Zoom session with you or help you with Zoom, and so you can certainly practice with us as well. We would encourage you to, we've got questions about how do I pass out papers safely to students in class. The best answer to that probably is put on a pair of gloves and pass out the papers to students individually, which can be quite time consuming. So, for graded papers, that may be what you have to do, right? Hand a paper individually to students. But if it's a handout that you have in class, something to share with the class, consider putting all those in Canvas. That'll help not only your students in person, but the students who are remote. If you've got a 8 o'clock in the morning class, tell students, hey, listen, by 6 o'clock the night before, I'm going to post every handout for the next day in our Canvas class. Go check it out. If you want to bring it to class, print it, bring it with you. Think of the printing money and ink that you would save, not having to print all those out for your students. And that's a really safe way to get information to them as well. So as we talked about the Zoom meeting creations, we tried to streamline that to make the most safe meeting possible for you. All you have to put in is the title, the date, the time, and then you save it. Think as well ahead about your assessments. If you've got that student who is remoting in, you may want to make sure that that is the student who is really taking the test, right? So you can use Respondus Lockdown Browser. It will lock down everything except the environment in which they're taking the test, like Canvas. Respondus Monitor uses the webcam to video the students while they're taking the exam. But also Zoom, right? We have a site license of Zoom and Respondus Lockdown Browser, the Respondus Monitor that uses the webcam. We have limited number of seats on those, but Zoom is a site license, free for everybody to use. So create a Zoom session for the assessment. have the student place the device, the phone, whatever, right behind them so that you can see them taking the test on their computer, or you can have it the other way and have the device facing them so you can see their eyes and their face. Whatever's going to work better for you that you think. We encourage you to record each class in Zoom. We talked a little bit about that already, but know too you could use Zoom to record your class lectures ahead of time. We ask that you only keep those recordings in Zoom one semester. We only have so much storage space, and so please delete any recordings that you don't need. Anything from May 1st and earlier, if you can move those to OneDrive or your own personal storage location. If you want eLearning to put them on the PBA private YouTube channel, we can do that and help you as well. It's really important that you communicate your expectations to those remote learners in advance. I have a little graphic here that one of my friends made, so you can make something like this. We could help you make something like this, but just, we've got a list on the left. The intent from Dr. Richards, unless they are really, really sick, is that they synchronously participate in your class. So if it is Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11, the student needs to be on Zoom Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 in your class. You might want to plan for other alternatives, right? Again, if a student becomes really ill, will they be able to do that? I don't know. So think about that. We do want to encourage students to follow the PBA dress code, right? Like pajamas are not appropriate. And you would encourage them to create a virtual classroom space somewhere wherever they are. That means they need proper lighting. You need to be able to see them. The other students in class need to be able to see them. They need to have a place to put their laptop or their mobile device as they zoom in. They need to have a place for studying, stable internet connection, etc. So they need to plan for all of those things. They need to be ready to engage with the class. So there are faculty who say, listen, you have to turn your video camera on. Every day I need you to be ready to turn your video camera on. That was one of our things that faculty mentioned in the past term, was that, several of the students kept turning their video camera off, and I can't see them, and I want to see them, and I have no idea if they are watching TV or making a cup of coffee. I don't know. So let students know their expectation is that they have to have that camera on. Let them know that they may be part of a recording. And, just for thought, consider an icebreaker session prior to the first day of class, or if somebody's having trouble with Zoom, that way you can help them in the Zoom session. So we did want to let you know Zoom security was recently increased, and so I think that is really helpful. They have the little badge security button that has all kinds of things where you can configure options in the Zoom meeting. Screen sharing is defaulted to the host only, or you as the faculty member only. You have to give others permission to be able to share their screen or even to write on the whiteboard. We have all that solely with the faculty member. You can mute everybody all at once, and that is in the participants window. And so lots of other things are now generated, and I would encourage you to get in Zoom and check those out, or attend one of our Zoom workshops. Something else faculty have asked about is, I don't want 2 or 3 students in my office at the same time. That's probably not the safest. So how can I schedule or have students schedule time with me? And so this was one of my colleagues that teaches at Florida Virtual School, and she uses this system called youcanbook.me. So it has been pretty helpful for those faculty members at Florida Virtual School, and I would encourage you to take a look at that. It's a free app, and you can just send that link to your students, and they can schedule their meetings with you straight away. So I know this was a lot of information, but we wanted to stress that testing is really going to be very helpful. So we're happy to help you with that. If that's something that you would like, help test your microphone. And, also that we're here to help you with other instructional technology, Canvas, Zoom, Respondus, lots of different things. So onlinehelp@pba.edu is a great way to reach us. And then in addition, our phone number. You might know that we have moved to the old admissions building, so feel free to visit us in person. And we also love to do Zoom sessions, so we would be happy to do a Zoom session with you. We have a professional development schedule coming soon, so check that out for more options. There's obviously a help button in Canvas, which a lot of people love. And then don't forget, we are paying for 24/7 support just for faculty, so you've got a phone number there. And then you can give this other phone number to students. That is their 24/7 support as well. We do have a class in Canvas. If you click on any of your classes in the upper navigation in the URL, the web link area, you'll find a set of numbers. If you type in that 16460 and hit enter, you will go to kind of our faculty resource area, and that is a great place to find more information about Canvas and Zoom and really teaching remotely. Your CIS team is ready to help you as well with any classroom technology or other technology needs. So again, helpdesk@pba.edu, and you know their phone number probably by heart, but you can certainly reach them there as well, and they would be happy to help you. So we thank you very much for wanting to learn a little bit more about HyFlexing at PBA and how you can help your students be academically successful. Please reach out if there are other ways that your e-learning team or CIS team can be helpful in this regard. Take care, everybody. Stay selfish, safe.